Hello fellow book lovers, my name is Giselle and welcome to the Adventures of Giz. The video that I'm doing today is the Intimidating TBR book tag. I just thought that this would be a fun video idea. So here's my first video back after my little break. So the first question is a book you have been unable to finish. For this prompt, I chose Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. I have read most of this book. I can't find my bookmark, but I have about 100 pages left of this book, and the reason why I have been unable to finish it is because I am completely obsessed with this series. This book has just been an emotional roller coaster, and I just really I don't want the series to end, and I don't want things that I know that are going to happen because I've seen spoilers. I don't want those things to happen because I'm going to be really sad, but people say I'm also going to be happy, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. It's just been one of those books that I need to just finish, but I just haven't had the willpower to actually go ahead and finish the last 100 pages of this book. I do want to read this before I get a copy of Chain of Gold, obviously, but I also haven't even read a synopsis for Chain of Gold because I haven't finished this book and I don't want spoilers, but it's okay, I will get to it, I will read it, and I know this is on my Intimidating TBR right now, but I will read it in the next 2 or 3 months. The next prompt is a book you have yet to read because you haven't had the time, and I can honestly say that I haven't had the time yet to read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So this looks just absolutely amazing. My best friend got it for me for Christmas, but I didn't read it in January when I was still reading, and then February was just a gigantic pit of book slump for me, so I didn't end up reading it then. So I haven't had the time to pick it up yet, but in the next month or so, I will definitely be getting to this, and I will make time to read it. From what I've heard about this book, because I don't want to spoil it too much for myself, from what I've heard is we follow a girl called Alex and she goes to Yale. She's had quite a rough history. Her past is really tough, and she is basically, I think she is inducted into this secret society. This is a bit of a magical realism story, and I am all for it. I'm here for the secret societies, I'm here for the magic, I am here for the drama. So I am so excited to read this. The next prompt is a book that you have yet to read because it is a sequel. So the book that I chose for this prompt was A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. I really enjoyed the first book in the series. It took me a while to read because I wasn't reading it continuously. I didn't binge read the first book. So I really love this world, but as soon as I finished A Gathering of Shadows, I just got swept away in reading other books at the time, so I just haven't had the time to get to A Gathering of Shadows. I absolutely adored the first book, but everybody says it gets better with each book, but because they're quite long and they're not dense because they're actually pretty easy to read, but it's not what I'm used to reading. If you don't know what the series is about, it is about a traveler called Cull, and he can basically travel between worlds, so he can travel between alternate parallel universes. Magic in all of these universes act really differently. So he comes from Red London, where magic is a very positive thing and it's an everyday thing. He can travel between White London, Grey London, and at one point he would have been able to travel between Black London as well, but Black London was cut off because the magic there became carnivorous. In the story we follow Cull, and we also meet another character called Lila Bard, and I absolutely adore her. I know that I really should read this book, but I just haven't gotten there yet. The next prompt is a book you haven't read yet because it is brand new. For this prompt I chose Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tommy Ademi. This book just looks fantastic, but the thing is that about South Africa is that we get books a little bit after they're released. So even though this was released November last year, maybe even earlier than that, I only got a copy of this last month. Apparently this one's a little bit shorter than the first book, and I'm really excited to get to this. I have read the first page and then I was like, I need to go back and read a recap of Children of Blood and Bone because I read it 2 years ago and I cannot 100% remember what happened. So in the first book, Children of Blood and Bone, we follow a girl called Leigh, and she has this magic in a world where magic is despised. This is just a fantastic concept. The writing was brilliant. I absolutely adored the first book, but like I said, I only just got the second book, so I haven't gotten to it yet. The next prompt is a book I haven't read because I didn't enjoy another book by the author. And not a lot of people are going to like me for my opinion on this one. And it's not that I didn't enjoy this book, it's just that it was way overhyped. The reality of the book and the hype around it do not meet up. That is Legend by Mary Lou. So I do have copies of her other books. I know this isn't the first book in the series, but I have the first book, but my bookshelves are a mess, so I couldn't find it. But I do have a copy of this series by her, and I also have Wild Cross by her. But my opinion of Legend, I was really expecting a lot from this, because, you know, there are a lot of series that are really hyped, but they were hyped quite a long time ago, and people just really loved it at the time that they were reading it, and when they reread it, they have like this nostalgic love for it. I did not have that because I read this last year. As much as I really did love it, it wasn't as great as I thought it would be, which was a little bit disappointing. So just because that was a little bit of a disappointment for me personally, I have not yet got into her other series, even though I know this one was also written a while ago, but I know some people really love it. But it's specifically this book that I think about when I think about Mary Lou and how I think I would really like this book. I just don't have the heart to read it just in case I don't like it, because I really want to love her work. So it's not that I didn't love Legend, it's just that it was a disappointment. I just don't want to be disappointed in Wild Cross as well. Next up we have the prompt, which is a book you have yet to read because you have not been in the mood, and I chose God's Grave by J. Kristoff for this prompt. Now, God's Grave just, it looks so intimidating, and Nevernight was brilliant, but it took me, I think, 7 months to read it because it's not an easy read. It's not extremely difficult, but it's also format with the footnotes did put me off a little bit. So that was the only thing that I really struggled with, but it was absolutely brilliant. The ending of Nevernight had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, nothing more can happen, there's only 40 pages left. And I was like, okay, nothing more can happen, there's only 20 pages left. And then I'm like, can this stop happening? So I really did enjoy Nevernight. When I think about God's Grave, it scares me a little bit. The mood that you have to be in to read the series is a very specific mood, and I just have not been in that specific mood lately. I will try binge read it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that because it takes me really long to read these books for some reason. And the next prompt is a book you have yet to read because it is huge. And for this, I chose The Priory of the Orange by Samantha Shannon. Even though this is not the biggest book on my TBR, this book is gigantic. It is so big. Look at it. It is huge. It looks so intimidating when I see it on my bookshelf. I just look at this and I freak out a little bit, which is why I have not read it yet. I don't know much about the story, but I have heard amazing things about it, and people really love it. It is just so big. It is over 800 pages, and the writing is not exactly small. So I think we can all understand why this is one of the biggest, most intimidating books on my TBR. The next prompt is a book you have yet to read because it was a cover buy and it ended up having bad or mixed reviews. So the one I chose for this was Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. I looked at this, I thought it was gorgeous. I'd seen a couple of people talk about it, but I hadn't seen a ton of people talk about it, and I got it, I had it on my bookshelf, and then I went onto Goodreads, added it to my Goodreads list, and I think it's the lowest rated book on my Goodreads list. I'm not 100% sure if it is the lowest, or it's one of the lowest. I just can't believe that. I thought it was really cool. It looked all like sci-fi, and I was in the sci-fi mood when I first picked this up. I saw some people talking about it, so I thought it might be really good, and It just has such a low Goodreads rating. I haven't seen actual reviews, so it was just the rating that really put me off. So I don't want to read something and then be like, wow, that was a waste of time. Which is why I generally read really hyped books, because hyped books I know I'm going to love. There are very few hyped books I have not liked. So the fact that this is a book that has been spoken about, but it actually didn't get such great reviews, I am still a little bit iffy about reading it, but I do want to read it eventually. I'm not going to be getting rid of it anytime soon because it looks really, really fun and interesting. And the last prompt is the most intimidating book on my TBR. For this one, I chose one that really deserves to be here, and I will explain why right now, and that is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. I have been obsessed with the Throne of Glass series since I read them. I think it was 2012 or 2013. I read the first three one after the other because I think I got the first three at like a secondhand bookshop. I knew nothing about the series. I was not a big reader back then, but I saw these amazing covers. I was like, that looks really cool. And I read the synopsis and I was like, wow, this looks amazing. I really need to read these. I read the first three. I lent them to all of my friends in high school. I read the first three like 4 or 5 times and I am just completely obsessed. However, when this last book was released, I had the sudden realization that my favorite series since I was young and since I started reading and since I really, really started loving books, my favorite series was coming to an end. And I went into full panic mode. So towards the end of last year, I just told myself, get over yourself, read the 6th book in the series. So I read Tower of Dawn. And then as soon as I finished it, I was like, now I can read Kingdom of Ash. Guess what? I looked at this and I ran away. It is a huge book. I believe it actually has more pages than Priory of the Orange. So this one has 984 pages. That is a lot of pages. I am obsessed with these characters. I am obsessed with this universe. I just am so in love with everything about the series, and I do not want it to come to an end. I am not good at ending things. I know that this is going to be heartbreaking. I am going to cry for most of the book, and when it is finished, it will be finished forever. Yes, I can reread the books, but I will never be able to read the last book for the first time ever again. So I really do just need to get over myself. I need to pick this up. But like I said, it is the most intimidating book on my TBR and it laughs at me every time I walk past. But I just don't want it to end. So, yes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My poor Kingdom of Ash. I'm so sorry. I will get to you soon. I will, but not right now. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and tell me in the comments below if there are any of these prompts that you really have a very specific book that you heard the prompt and you were like, yes, that is me and this one book. If you thought that in this video, leave a comment down below and tell me what that book is. Or maybe you even have some of the same books as me on your TBR that are just intimidating. Let me know down below. So don't forget to click that subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic day and a great week.